What's going on, everybody? Kalipa's Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, we're going to be doing a quick comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G and the Samsung Galaxy A23. Now before we go any further, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and if you want to learn more about either of these phones individually, I will be linking to several other videos about them in the description, as well as some information about pricing and availability. But with that being said, let's get into it. So with the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G, we're getting a 6.7-inch 120Hz Super AMOLED Plus display with a resolution of 1080p, a PPI of 392, and an aspect ratio of 20:9. With the Samsung Galaxy A23, we're getting a 6.6-inch 90Hz PLS TFT display with a resolution of 1080p, a PPI of 400, and an aspect ratio of 20:9. So both of these phones do have good displays, but the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G is a little bit better. First of all, at 6.7 inches versus 6.6 inches, the A73 5G is of course a little bit larger, and in addition to this, a Super AMOLED Plus display overall is going to be a little bit better than a PLS TFT display. You're going to get more vibrant and just better looking colors, and the viewing angles are going to be a little bit better. So if you're outside in the sun, for example, the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G is going to be a little bit easier to see than the Samsung Galaxy A23. The A73 5G also has a higher refresh rate at 120Hz versus 90Hz, and while you're probably not going to notice a whole lot, the movement on the screen with the A73 5G is going to be a little bit faster and smoother, so if you're doing something like watching videos, playing games, that kind of thing, you are going to get a better experience overall. But that being said, again, the Samsung Galaxy A23 does have a really good display for what it is, especially considering it's a lot lower end than the A73 5G, and it's really just more of an entry-level phone, and I am especially glad to see we are getting a 1080p resolution here. Now for storage, both phones are getting 128GB of internal storage with microSD card expansion, so definitely a good amount of storage here. Now if you're really a power user and you have a bunch of apps, photos and videos and stuff like that, then you might prefer 256GB instead, but again, for the average user, most people are probably not going to need any more than 128, and even if you do have a lot of photos and videos, for example, remember both phones do have microSD card expansion, so that's really going to help too. For security features, both of these phones do have fingerprint scanners. With the A73 5G, it's right here in the display, so definitely looks real nice and premium. And with the Samsung Galaxy A23, it's right here on the power key. And in addition to the fingerprint scanners, both phones have face unlock as well. But starting with the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G, let's give these fingerprint scanners a try and see how well they work. There we go, one more time. And there we go. And moving on to the A23. There we go, one more time. And there we go. So as you can see there, both fingerprint scanners were real fast and responsive, no issues whatsoever. And remember, both of these phones have face unlock, so if you want to use that instead, you always can. Now taking a look at the camera setups here, with the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G, we got a nice looking hole punch design for the front facing camera, and this camera is 32 megapixels. Then on the back, we got a quad camera setup with the 108 megapixel main camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 5 megapixel macro camera, and a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera. With the Samsung Galaxy A23, we got a water drop notch designed for the front facing camera, and this camera is 8 megapixels. Compared to the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G, it definitely doesn't look nearly as modern or premium, but honestly, in context with the rest of the phone, it really doesn't look too bad. Now on the back, we got a quad camera setup here as well, with a 50 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. And then for video, the A73 5G can record in up to 4K at 30 frames per second in both the rear and front cameras, and the A23 can record in 1080p in both the rear and front. So both of these phones have really good camera setups with pretty much all the features. But that being said, as far as actual photo quality goes, the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G will be significantly better, so if you're taking a lot of photos and you want the best quality you can get between the two, then I would say this phone is definitely going to be the way to go. But if you're more of a casual camera user and you're just taking a few photos every now and then, the Samsung Galaxy A23 will get the job done. Now the same kind of thing goes for video as well. Like I said, the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G can record in 4K, whereas the A23 is limited to 1080p. So again, if you are recording a lot of videos, maybe for a more professional purpose like YouTube for example, then the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G will have an advantage here. But if you're just recording a video every now and then, maybe for Snapchat or something where the quality doesn't really matter a whole lot, then the A23 will be perfectly fine. Now as far as RAM and processor go, with the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G, we're getting 8GB of RAM RAM with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G 5G processor. With the Samsung Galaxy A23, we're getting 4GB of RAM with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 680 4G processor. So that's another thing to keep in mind here. The Samsung Galaxy A73 5G, as the name suggests, is a 5G phone, and the Samsung Galaxy A23 is not. Now, it's not the end of the world if you don't have a 5G phone, but in this day and age, I personally feel like if you're going through the effort of getting a new phone, you might as well get a 5G phone. So in that case, the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G will have an advantage. But honestly, if you're gonna get a 4G phone, I do think the Samsung Galaxy A23 is pretty much the best one you can get. Now that being said, I did run Geekbench 5 benchmark tests on both of these phones, and with the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G, we're getting a single core score of 773 and a multi-core score of 2888, and with the A23, we're getting a single core score of 351 and a multi-core score of 1645. So when it comes to performance, clearly between the two, the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G will have a huge advantage here. So if you're doing higher performance activities like mobile gaming, for example, or you're really on your phone a lot, you will get a better experience with the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G. But at the same time, with the A23 5G, this phone is actually really fast for a 4G phone. And if you're on your phone doing more basic activities like web browsing, social media, stuff like that, and you're not doing any high performance activities like playing Call of Duty or something like that, then you should be perfectly fine with this phone as well. And again, a really significant thing to consider here is whether or not you actually want a 5G phone, because if you don't care about 5G, then the A23 will still be a perfectly feasible option. But if you do want a 5G phone, then between the two, obviously the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G will be the way to go. But that being said, what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and comparing your results to these, and that's going to give you a better idea of which phone is going to be a good upgrade for you. You might find out that while the A73 5G is clearly the faster phone of the two, the Samsung Galaxy A23 might be a good enough upgrade for you already. Now as far as the battery goes, it's pretty much the same with both of these phones, both of them having 5000 mAh batteries that support 25W fast charging, so we're getting great battery life and longevity here. And in addition to this, if you happen to have a fast charger, since both of these phones support 25W fast charging, having a good fast charger will make a difference here. In addition to this, both phones do have NFC, so if you like to make contactless mobile payments using Tap and Pay, you'll be happy to know you can do that with either of them. But in conclusion, which of these phones is better? In general, I would say the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G is the better device. Not only does it have a slightly larger display with a higher refresh rate and better display technology, it also has a better camera that can take higher quality photos and record 4K videos. The Samsung Galaxy A73 5G has a much more powerful processor and 5G connectivity, whereas again, the A23 is only a 4G phone. But that being said, on the other hand, the Samsung Galaxy A23 is one of the fastest 4G phones I've seen in a long time. The camera on this phone is really good too, and the display also isn't half bad. So in general, if you want the highest performing phone with the best camera and the best display, the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G will be the way to go. But if you want a solid mid-range phone that just works, and you don't really care whether or not you get 5G, the Samsung Galaxy A23 is not going to be a bad option either. Now once again, if you want to learn more about either of these phones individually, I will be linking to several other videos about them in the description, as well as some information about pricing and availability, because this is always changing. But this concludes my comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A73 5G and the Samsung Galaxy A23. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow Kalippa's Tech on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, I will see you in the next video.